Vendra lakes in South Wales. It's a big open lake, mainly carp fished, and we're going to do a bit of method feeder fishing for big bream and maybe an odd big carp on a big wide expanse like this. And I'm just going to show you how I go about building a swim in winter. So not putting a big bed of bait out, sort of fishing the feeder and building it up. So we're going to get set up and hopefully catch a few fish. So there we are, just wanted to run you through the bait I'm going to be using today. So first up, 2mm pellets. I've got two different types here, Thin Perfects and a Pro Feeds, just because there's two different colours of brown, so it gives you a bit of a contrast on the bottom. It's very clear today, and the water has been very, very cold because we've had all that ice water melt into it, so it is going to be quite hard. And I think having those two sort of different shades of pellets does help the fish pick them out on the bottom. And then other than that, trusted match method mix, original. I'm just going to mix up a little bit of that. Start with pellets around the method, but I will go 50-50 ground bait and micros if it starts getting hard, because I feel like the ground bait drags a few more fish in. So as we're going to try and build the swim, we're not going to put a big bed of bait down. We're going to try and build the swim throughout the day, and hopefully it'll get better and better. So because of that, I will mix a little bit of ground bait up as well. So basically, get my tub. Nothing complicated about this. Just get my tub there. Just tip a few Thin Perfects in. Not the whole bag, I'm just going to mix half a bag of each. Half a bag of the Pro Feeds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bit of water. I'm just going to, I don't know if you see that there, just covering the pellets. I'm going to leave that there for a minute, and then I'll come back to it. I'll drain it off and strain it. I do like to have a fine mesh land net with me, put the pellets in there, squeeze all the excess water out, and then they're perfect. So I'll leave that for a minute now, and then I'll come back to it. And then the ground bait, I'm not going to need a lot, probably half a kilo at max. I'm not going to be feeding loads of it. I'm just going to add it to the pellets. So give it a little swish around. Bit more on that, just a little bit. There. A little swish around. Get some water into it. Now this ground bait does take a lot of water, but I do want it quite dry. So get a little bit of water in it. Give it a whisk around. Our ground bait there is over wetted, but I'll leave that for sort of a couple of minutes, and it'll all take on the water, and I can break it up and put it through a riddle, and it'll be absolutely perfect for the method then. So we're back to it now. The pellets are all soaked up. There's still a little bit of excess water in it. I don't know if you can see that. But there, a little bit of excess water. So what I'm going to do, tip the pellets into a fine mesh land net, and then, I don't know if you can see all that, but squeeze all the excess water out of it, and then I leave those pellets on the side just to dry out, and they'll be absolutely perfect for that method. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a lot of water in here that's come off those pellets. We'll get rid of that. Get the riddle out. That ground bait there now, you can see it, it's dried up, it's like in big clumps, like a cake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that onto the riddle, just push it through the riddle. And there we have it done. So that ground bait there now, it's perfect for the method. It's slightly on the dry side, but I want it slightly on the dry side because when I'm compacting that method, I want it to compact properly. So I like my ground bait to be slightly on the dry side. So that's the pellets done, that's the ground bait done. We'll just go sort out the hook baits and then we'll get fishing. So now we've got our pellets sorted, we've got our ground bait sorted, just onto the hook baits now. So we've got two different colour wafters. The Sono Baits Bandon wafters. One's a pineapple and coconut, the other one's a krill and squid. They're pink, white, yellow and white. Now I like a wafter in the winter, there's 6mm wafters. I'm hoping to catch big bream, big carp, so I'm going to fish a 6mm. I got two different liquid additives. One's the bloodworm haze and the other one is the pineapple and coconut lava, just in case I need to add that extra bit of attraction to my method or my hook baits. I got some sweet corn and some dead maggots, just in case it is really hard and I got to go on the dead maggots. So that's it, simple hook baits, two different types of wafters, different colours, some sweet corn and the humble maggot, and that is it. We're going to do a little bit of a mix in one bowl of 50-50 micros and ground bait, just in case it is hard and I need to drag a few more fish into my swim. I can just add a bit of ground bait and that will help drag a few fish in. But other than that, we're ready to rock and roll. So we're going to get out, cast out, stick the rod up, and hopefully catch a pile of fish. So there we are, first cast. I stick the rod up at 60 metres. Now it's very important I think to stick the rod up, because if I hook one of these big carp that are in here and I've got to unclip to play it, you know, I need to be able to get our method right back on the same spot. And also if you have a mishap and you crack off for some reason, then you really need to be sticking it back up to exactly the same spot. So I've sticked it up to 60 metres, which is about just over half to 3/4 away to the island. And I'm going to try and build a swim. So timing my bites, timing my casts, sorry. And I'm going to try and time 5-minute casts to start with. And then I'm going to see how the fish react when I'm getting my bites. It might be a case that after the first sort of hour of 5-minute casts, I haven't caught any fish and I might have to start leaving it out there sort of 10 minutes then. But normally you get a sort of an idea of when your bites are coming. So they tend to come roughly the same sort of time. So we're going to try and build a swim to start with 5-minute casts. And hopefully the swim will get stronger and stronger. You know, it is January, like I said, so it is very cold. You know, it was only last week that we had all that ice. So all that ice had melted into it, so the water's very cold. But I'm still confident we're going to catch a few fish. Right, so we're up and running. We've had our first fish, a nice bream of about £3. I had sort of 3 casts out there, 5-minute casts. And on the 4th cast, 2 minutes in, it's gone round. So, just had another cast that was 5 minutes. And this is my 6th cast now. So, when you had that one bite, that one indication, no line bites or anything. So at the moment I'm still on a wafter. The fish I caught was on a yellow wafter, but I have swapped between a yellow and a white at the moment in the pineapple and coconut. I'm just putting putting 50-50 micros and ground bait in at the moment, because I'm trying to build a swim and trying to build a bit of activity there. I think the micros and the ground bait adds that little bit of pulling power to pull the fish into the swim. So I'm just at the moment putting micros and ground bait 50-50 around the method to try and drag fish in and build that swim. Now, when there's a lot of fish there, I'll cut the ground bait out and just fish micros. But at the moment, there's not loads of fish coming in, so I feel like that ground bait is just giving me that extra little opportunity to drag a few fish into the swim. That time my wafters come off, so I'm going to put another one on. I'll go for another yellow one. I do like the yellow to be honest, but I tried a white for a little bit, never had a bite on it, so to show you what I'm doing, a little bit in the bottom of the mould. Wafter on, right in the middle of the mould, fill it back up, compress it quite hard. That is a finished article. Just give it another little squeeze before I go out, and then aim up with our marker. Like I said, got to keep it in line with our marker. And then we're in. I like to lift the rod just as I'm about to hit the clip. Just gives me that little bit of security that I hit the clip and I can lower the rod, sort of lower the method in so it doesn't go in with a big splash. It just plops in. So I'm almost feathering it in off the clip. I think that's the best way. You don't want a method crashing in on top of feeding fish. But yeah, we've got two bream in the net, both about 3 or 4 pound. And we've only been fishing about 35-40 minutes. So hopefully, as I said earlier, because it's cold, because it's winter, you know, I could have quite easily come here today with a baiting up rod, put sort of, you know, 2 kilos out there and some pellets and some bits and pieces and chucked over the top of it and just waited for them to turn up. But this time of year, when it's cold, fish are not as active. I don't feel that's the right way to go. Don't get me wrong, on days you will catch lots of fish doing it. But I just feel in winter, to guarantee yourself to catch a few fish, don't think that's the right way to go about it. I much prefer to fish slightly bigger methods, cast a bit more regular, build a swim. Like I said, we've had 2 bream, so you know, we're catching a few fish, as well as building the swim and putting bait in the swim. Now, I'd much rather do that and just have the swim slowly get better than putting a big pile of bait out there and hoping they turn up over it. Yes, when the shoals turn up over it and they want to feed, you can catch really quickly and it can be a real bumper day. But I just feel that this time of year, when it's cold, it's a more conservative method and almost guarantees you a few fish. On those really hard days, you could fill it in with a bait up feeder and you might not get a bite. But doing this, fishing and just building your swim as you go in, on those rock hard days and the hardest of days, you will get an odd bite. And when it's a bit warmer and it's better, you will continue to get bites and continue to build the swim. And as the day goes on, as the session goes on, it'll definitely get better. The more bait that goes in, the more fish you'll drag into your peg and the more bites you'll get. So we just had a really good bite that time. It's just kiting off. Feels like a carp. So we've had 3 bream. Now a big carp, hopefully. Just take your time. These fish are hard enough to catch and hard enough to get on your hook as it is. So just take your time. Make sure everyone counts. Feels like a really good fish. This lake is carp fished quite a lot. I think that's why the bream grow so big in here. So it is carp fished quite a lot. I know there's fish in here 20 pound plus. So there's not loads of carp in here, but the ones that are in here are quite big. Look at him. It's a big, big fish. So here we are, a beautiful mirror carp. Carp angler next to me just lent me the scales. 20 pound, 10 ounces. We're going to get him back. Hopefully catch some more. So there we are, just caught a nice big carp. Carp angler on the next peg. Kindly weighed it for me. And he was 20 pound, 10 ounces. A beautiful big mirror carp. Now just before I had that, just before I caught that fish, I had 2 chucks where I had indications on both chucks. Just made me feel that there was a few more. Few more fish in the swim. But looking back, it was probably just that one big fish that was giving me the line bites, just mooching around. So we've been fishing about an hour now, and to be honest with you, we've had 3 fish, and I've had 1 big line bite. But I've just started this last sort of like 2 casts. I've just started to get an odd indication. Where before I was just waiting and waiting and waiting, and five or 6 minutes in, it'd go round. The last 2 casts I've had indications that tell me there's fish in the area or in the swim, but I've not actually turned into any bites. So what I'm going to do this time is, when I reel it in next cast now, I'm going to reel it in, I'm going to change my hook bait from a wafter. I'm just going to put 2 dead red maggots on, just to see if there is fish in my swim, mooching around picking up the small particles of the pellets and the ground bait, but don't want to take that bigger particle of that 6mm wafter. Sometimes changing to a smaller hook bait can be the key to catching and not catching. So I'm just going to try that now next cast to see if it makes any difference at all. So the wind's picked up quite a lot now, and since that carp I've not had another bite. So I started leaving it a bit longer, and I'm leaving it for 12-minute casts now. But at the moment it's not come to any avail, like. So I tried putting some lava on it, that's not really made a difference. I tried smaller hook baits, that's not really made a difference. You know, it is noticeable that with the wind picking up, the temperature, the outside air temperature has definitely dropped. I've had to put my hood up. I know, you know, it's definitely a lot colder than what it was. So whether that's made a difference, but I'm going to keep plodding away now for the next sort of hour or so. Like I said, I am giving it 12-minute casts and see if we can nick a few more fish. But this is typical of winter method feeder fishing for big fish. Do you mean? This is typical. You catch a couple of fish, and then you could go the rest of the match or the rest of the session without catching another one. But normally it does get good and come good later on, because we built the swim really nicely. We caught 3 big bream, then we've had that big 20-pound carp, and then it's gone a bit iffy after that. Now whether that carp's disturbed the swim and made it a bit made all the fish unsettled out there, I'm not sure, because he did scrap and he did put up a good fight. So whether that's caused the problem or whether it's just that the temperature's dipped a bit and they've stopped feeding, I don't know. But we'll keep going. We'll keep having a few more casts and see if we can catch a few more fish for the camera. But as I said, this is typical of winter feeder fishing, or winter fishing in general, to be honest. I've not had any more bites, so what I would do now, this is the last ditch sort of thing now, because I built a little bit of a swim, caught a few fish. Now the bites have dried up, so what I would tend to do now is I unclip and go 1 metre or 2 past and see if those fish have just backed off the food a little bit. It might be that I've caught those couple of fish in that area, they don't really want to feed, and they've just backed off the back of the feed. So what I'll do now is I'll bring the rod in, unclip it, add 2 meters on, go just past my initial feed and see if I can nick a few more bites. So that's work the treat out of, because they've just unclipped, gone 2 meters past my feed, and it's gone round within 5 minutes. So it seems as if the fish have just backed off a little bit. It's always a good little trick to catch an odd extra fish. I wouldn't do it early in the session or early in the match, because I feel like you're splitting your fish up too much. But I've only got sort of half hour, an hour left of the session. So just gone past that little bit. Like I said, it's gone round within 5 minutes, so it's a lot quicker than what I have been catching them. Feels like a good bream again. You know, we've got, this will be our 6th bream, plus that 20-pound carp. So all of them are sort of 3 to 4 pound. That's a good bream, eh? So try that again. We'll keep it in the same spot. We won't unclip it again. So there we are, beautiful net of big bream and that big carp on method feeder tactics at range. Some big slabs like them and big carp. Hope you enjoyed the video. Get out on the bank and give it a go yourself.